Hello and welcome. Oh no, my camera just randomly stopped working. Oh boy. It was working fine before. Okay. I've got a new noise suppressor on the mic, which hopefully will make the static less. I had to have the gate pretty high to get rid of my fuzz, and I noticed that the S sound doesn't really produce a lot of decibels, so it was cutting off all my words. Sorry you guys had to hear that. I'm trying to make OBS see my camera. Deactivate, activate. It's not seeing my camera. Very annoying. Maybe I can get it to work without even leaving the stream just by unplugging it and replugging it. Hello, everyone. Hello, Muralist. And hello, Allison and Jinkid. Welcome, welcome. Let's see if I can get my camera working. Okay. Now I'm going to open the device and deactivate it and activate it. There we go. Hooray. Okay, awesome. Very cool. Oh yeah, and then I'll check. Oh yeah, it comes out the white balance is all messed up. Let me make it not look like that. I don't know why the brightness always comes in very low and the saturation is just insane. There, now I don't look so much like a pumpkin. It's a little bit dark, but it's also quite dark in this room. It'd be better if I set up some more lighting, but then I have to work under the bright lights, and it's just, I just optimize for my own personal comfort. Okay, we have so many exciting things to do today. I cannot express my excitement. Some days work is good. Some days work is fun. I'm so excited about it. Okay, so we have this master loc sheet, which has been, our translators have been working on the game. And this is going to be, I mean, we have messed around a little bit, making sure that the fonts work and stuff. I just put in some garbage machine translation. But now we have the actual translations, or at least like 90% of them. And I'm going to download a TSV and put it in the game. And I just want to sort of get a first pass of localization in here. So it should be called master. I need to rename it exactly. Let's go here. We're going to release the localizations hopefully pretty soon. We need to, of course, do some testing to make sure that they aren't crap. There's a lot of testing we can do ourselves. Even though we can't read it, we can make sure that all the glyphs are rendering correctly, and we can also make sure that all the actual translations are present, which is, you know, if we see English text or if we see an error, like R has a placeholder thing called no T key, which means no translation key, which means it didn't find a translation. And we can, of course, see all those quite easily without actually being able to read the text. All right, so I'm going to replace this master loc sheet. I'm going to go ahead and check out this master loc sheet. And I'm going to overwrite it with the one that I downloaded from our translators. Okay, there we go. And I guess I should look at maybe the first string in the game just to make sure. Well, I guess we'll find out. Okay. Catch up with chats. Love watching your stream while doing game dev work. All right, rock on. Happy to be your office coworker while you work. I think that's a cool way to enjoy streams. Oh my gosh, and thank you so much for playing the demo, and thank you for your kind words. All right. Always lovely to hear. So happy you liked the demo. And howdy, Ryan JQ, welcome. Yeah, I'm hopefully going to be streaming more. It just really helps me avoid the distractions. Do you think you'll live stream the launch? I don't think so. Because I want to enjoy that with Jacqueline, and I'm pretty sure the last thing Jacqueline wants to do is be on camera during that, or being recorded. Really, more is her thing. She doesn't enjoy being recorded. Muralist says, haven't played your games, but my wife and I stumbled across a couple of your videos the other day. All right, rock on. Thanks for watching the videos. Glad to see them as I'm working on mine right now. Learned a few things. Cool. Well, I'm glad they've been helpful. Very glad. Ryan JQ asks how Jacqueline is doing. Jacqueline being my wife, who's also extremely pregnant. She is very pregnant, and she is ready to be done, as so many women are by the end of their pregnancy. Pregnancy is usually pretty uncomfortable, and by the end, even though giving birth is very uncomfortable, I think many women by the end are just like, oh my God, I'm ready to give birth. Let's go ahead and end this pregnancy. So she's pretty much at that stage. But other than that, she's doing very well. And she's managed to stay very productive during most of her pregnancy, which we were worried about because last pregnancy, she was so sick that we were thinking it was going to be hard for her to work, but she's been working hard the whole time. And she's, of course, very excited about the game and very excited about our demo launch and everything. So it's going to be it's a busy, stressful year, but it's good. It's good to have things to look forward to. I'm going to go to the language option, language option list. And just make sure that because currently we limit it to only English. And I think that the next update we push will be the localization update. I don't think we're going to risk putting out another update in between then, because the build is relatively stable. There's a few soft locks left, and of course there's many things we want to improve. But for the most part, it seems like everyone is able to finish the game. So we don't want to spend too much time making a bunch of updates right now when we could just focus and try to put everything in and do the localization update with a bunch of other fixes as well, kind of consolidate everything. Payment says GameDev here, keep at it. Thank you. All right. Yes, I think it's going to do pretty well. Everything is going really well for us. We have an obscene amount of wish lists. I mean, not obscene, for the amount of money we spent making it. We're just, we're in a good spot. So we're very excited. Ryan Winchy, hello. Hello and welcome. It's been amazing to see the press around Glimmerwick. All right. Following for a long time, and it's been inspiring as a fellow dev. Quality achieved is incredible. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. That really pumps us up, makes us feel very good. I appreciate that a lot. Glad you think so. Runesun, hello and welcome. Yeah, I've been streaming for the last few days. I've been kind of back on the horse here. Taylor Karen says, been playing the demo. All right, glad you dig the demo. And Park Alex, hello and welcome to the stream. So I'm gonna check. This says language options. Language options list. This should be the one here. Keyboard language settings. I don't think that that's it. The language setting entry. I think that that's got to be the one. We have language, and here are the different strings. So we need all the languages here. So I'm gonna maybe just check out UI. How is it not connecting to Perforce or something? It's not giving me an option to check it out. It's concerning. UI of type prefab. Here it is, UI. Oh, there it is. Okay, check out. And then we want to go to the language. And we just want to put in all of these settings back, so there should be 8. I don't know why it's not letting me change this. Why is it not letting me? Apply settings immediately. Setting default is 0. Okay. Setting ID is language. I wonder if there's some other mechanism controlling this. I don't really know why we wouldn't be able to change that. I don't know why we're not able to change that. Wonder if there's some other code. Size on mouse over. I remember I used to be able to change this. Let's apply settings immediately. What if I opened? I don't think that that would make a difference. This is just a generic option setting entry, so we should just basically be specializing the prefab. Shouldn't be an issue here. Unless there's some other list higher. No, I'm not seeing anything. Oh, here we go. Oh, well, this is weird. Keyboard language. Okay, right. Because Jenny had to put a new keyboard setting in. That's awesome that she did that. Just don't understand why we're not able to. Okay, there we go. Now cancel. So for some reason, while I'm not able to change the number, I am able to duplicate the array elements, and I don't really know why that is. But anyway, we need to go to our master loc sheet. Let's close everything. Let's close all tabs. Let's go to our master loc sheet. Ryan Winchie says, any words of advice on perseverance? You know, it's your second game, but the uphill battle creating something for so many years is hard. Do you take days off ever? Yeah, I do take days off. I take them kind of randomly. I don't take like a strict weekend. I usually work through the weekends, but then I'll take a random day in the middle of the week. Some days I just don't work very well. So I just try to, you know, keep the pressure and keep moving. But in our case, since it's our full-time jobs and we spent all our money on making the game, you know, I always say that the motivation ends up not even being that important because we spent all our money making the game. So it's kind of, you know, it's do or die. It's like we've made it into a job for ourselves because it's how we make money. So we can't slack off. We know we can't just like, you know, spin our wheels for a month because that means the game will be a month late. And if you know, spinning your wheels all the time, then the game gets pushed further and further, and we know we only have a finite amount of money, so we've got to ship it. And the longer we take, the more we spend on the game, then the more money it has to make back. So we have that pressure. But we've always been, both Jack and I have had a pretty easy time working on games for a long time. We seem to just get really excited about one idea, and for whatever reason, we seem to enjoy just grinding for a long time on it. We don't have that thing where we just want to give up and start a new project. Of course, it's very fun to start a new project. I enjoy that, I think, as much as anyone. But I also really dream about shipping the game, and I dream about it a lot. And I have these fantasies about how the launch will go. And sometimes they're absurd fantasies. They're like fantasies that I know will never even happen because they're so outlandish. But I don't know, for some reason, it doesn't make me sad when they don't happen, but it keeps me going during the development. And of course, our games have done pretty well. And I think Glimmerwick is going to do well as also. So that keeps us motivated. I'm sorry if that's completely unhelpful. Hydra for TT says, have you ever played Eastward? I have not played Eastward. I have not. Something I would probably like to play that game, but I haven't had much time to play games lately. Rune Sudden says streaming is basically a really long demo. Demo gods don't allow things to work properly. Eastward is maybe the best pixel art I've ever seen. Eastward is definitely a very beautiful looking game. Hydra says, it's one of my biggest inspiration when it comes to making pixel art. Nice, nice. Sleepy, hello, says, played the demo. It was amazing. All right, thank you so much. I'm so glad you liked the demo. Okay, OST was amazing. The OST is definitely amazing. That I know for sure. All right. Thank you so much for the support. Hell yeah. Do you have solid revenue estimates? 1 second. Yeah, I think we do have solid revenue estimates because we have 140,000 wish lists, and we kind of have some idea of how many we'll have by the time we launch. I know we'll have between 160 and, I don't know, let's say 220,000 wish lists, something in that ballpark. But if we ship today with 140,000 wish lists, statistically, our lifetime revenue should be over 5 million net take home, which is like 7 or 8 million gross or even more. So it's hard to imagine. I mean, it's hard to just take that for granted. Like it's hard to just be like, yeah, we're gonna it's gonna make 5 million. That's statistically what it looks like right now. Of course, if it made less than that, we'd be fine. If it made $1 million, we'd be fine. It would have been a bad investment, but we would keep making games because we'd have $1 million. Let me put it this way. It's a lot more likely to make over $10 million than it is to make less than $1 million. If it made less than $1 million, it maybe would be the only game in Steam's history to ever have this many wish lists and make less than $1 million. The only other game I can think of anyway, that happened to would be Cuff Bust. And Cuff Bust was a really strange situation, with it having 10 minutes of content and stuff. So, and it was a weird, the genre is, I don't know. Cuff Bust is a weird situation. It's not like our situation. And of course, we already have so much data because we've already had a public demo launch, and so many people, 10,000 people have already played the game. And frankly, many people are super duper duper excited about it. We haven't had anyone that has just been like, I mean, of course we get a couple people who absolutely hate everything about it, but they didn't know, like, let me put it this way. We have not had a single person, at least that has given us feedback, and we have a public feedback forum, and we have our Steam forums. And of course we even get tons of comments on our YouTube videos, people talking about the game, about their experience in the demo. Nobody who's been following the game for a long time has been like severely disappointed by the demo. Everyone seems to be really pleased with it, which is amazing. The only people who are disappointed by the demo are just like random people who just randomly found the demo and were like, I hate this thing about it or whatever. So I don't know how seriously to take those, but our median score on our feedback forum, because we ask them straight up, 1 to 10, what would you rate the demo? It was 9. It has fallen to 8, but 8 is still quite good. That means, more than half of people are giving it an 8, a 9, or a 10. There's only three scores that they could have been giving it. So we're pretty pleased with that. And we're on the cusp of 9. We're like a couple, if we have a couple people give us 9s, like let's say 10 people gave us 9s, I think that it would pop back to 9. We're really on the cusp between 8 and 9. Anyway, okay, let me catch up with chat and then get to work here. Mondrex, do you prefer pixel art or 2D vector art like Glimmerwick? I don't know. I wouldn't call Glimmerwick vector art. Glimmerwick is just illustrated. I mean, there's no vectors in it. So yeah, it's just illustrated. Out of those options, I would definitely prefer illustrated. I've never really had a soft spot for pixel art. I appreciate good pixel art, and I have enjoyed, a few pixel art games, but I definitely don't go looking for pixel art. But I like illustrated a lot better. Ryan JQ says, so even with the low estimates, it will still make profit. Yes, even on the low end, it will still make profit. It would have to be like anomalous flop in order to not make profit. It would have to just be statistically in the like bottom 10% of outcomes. If it's like in the bottom 20% of outcomes, it should be all right. And if it even approaches the average outcome based on, you know, a normal Burkitt ratio and based on a normal sales curve, we will be, I mean, basically set for life, hopefully. That's the situation. If we can finish the damn game and finish it to the standard that we want, there are definitely a lot more good outcomes than bad outcomes. So we couldn't be more excited about that. Ryan Winchy says, the wish lists are a great indicator, but due to the quality here, I genuinely think a word of mouth explosion once reviews and such come out. Thank you. That's very, very nice to hear. I think that word of mouth is already kind of exploding. I mean, we've had over 20,000 downloads of the demo, which is a lot. It's really a lot. And it's hard to even comprehend how much, because most people on Steam don't even play demos. Not only do most people on Steam not play demos, but most people on Steam that do play demos play them during Next Fest. And we just launched our demo with nothing. We launched it just randomly, like no showcase. I mean, we did as much hoopla as we could ourselves, and we generated as much press as we could ourselves. And we did a round of press previews and all that. And we had IGN help us out in that they covered the game. And it was on the front page of IGN for a few days there. But nothing, there's no, you know, showcases, there's no festivals driving these. These are all just, this is like kind of our own splash here that we made. And to get over 20,000 demo downloads is really a lot. And we've driven over 20,000 wish lists in the last week. And again, this is not Next Fest. There's no Next Fest going on right now. There's no nothing. We're going to get our Next Fest too. We haven't used our Next Fest. So then we're going to go into Next Fest. I bet we're going to get another 20,000 wish lists, because that's just what games of this caliber get. And that's just what games that have as many wish lists as we do, that's how many wish lists they tend to drive. So seems like we are going to crack 200 by the time we launch. Ryan Winchy says, did you enjoy 2D, or will your next game return to 3D? Our next game is going to return to 3D, and not that we didn't enjoy 2D, but it's just kind of Eastshade was my baby, and Glimmerwick is Jacqueline's baby, and she's a 2D artist, and she was the lead artist, so it was a 2D game. But next game is going to be my baby again, and Eastshade I was the creative director, Glimmerwick, Jacqueline is the creative director, and next game I'm going to be the creative director again, so it's going to be 3D. We think we know the price. I'm not going to disclose it here in case we change it, but actually, you know, it doesn't really matter, because I can't imagine, oh, well, he said in a stream once that it was going to be X amount and then they changed it, so like, if anyone does that, then they're just an idiot. But I'm not officially announcing the price right now, but we think we're going to be launching it for $25 US dollars, at least in the United States, and all the regional prices that correspond to that. That's what we're feeling right now. I vote for a sequel called Westshade. We're never going to return to Eastshade, that's for sure. All right, these are the strings for the different languages. I've been gabbing and gabbing, which is good. Now I just want to, oops, cancel. What is going on here? Duplicate array elements. Let me actually save. There it is. Save this. And let me just make sure that it actually sticks, because I wonder if there's some kind of mechanism that is setting this, maybe that Jenny put in. Actually, I might find a comment on it. Uh, Seferino says, just joined the stream and heard something about the next game you're going to make. Do you already have ideas? I do have an idea. I would say it's more than a vague sense. It's up for change. I'm not 100% certain, but for our next game, I'd like to do a merchant game, a merchant RPG. So a merchant where the core loop is buying and selling stuff, and it's a fantasy world, and you have quests and NPCs, very much Eastshade style. I mean, Eastshade Studios style in terms of the NPCs and the quests and the sort of non-linearity of the game world and everything. Cities, lively towns, that kind of thing, and you're buying things and you're selling them, and you're maybe setting up trade routes and stuff, and you're competing with the big bad corporation, and I think that would be really fun. Kind of a swashbuckling startup, swashbuckling startup company adventure with maybe a little cast of characters. And you meet cool people around the world, and you can recruit them into your business and stuff. I think that'd be really fun. But it's the merchant genre is very. It's sort of there's not a lot of merchant games, so I mean I've played quite a few of them, but it's definitely very risky. It's way more risky than Glimmerwick. Probably less risky than Eastshade. Eastshade is in a really shitty genre. Eastshade is terrible for sales. It smells like a walking sim, and people hate that on Steam. So I don't think it'd be as risky as Eastshade in terms of sales, but it would be riskier than Glimmerwick, that's for sure. Just trying to find Jenny's card over here on my other monitor, where she turned it back to English, and I just want to see if she. No, she didn't say anything about it. So, okay, let's see. Language settings, is that one stuck? So this one appears to have stuck. I'll go ahead. I hit save. So now let me just see if we can see the two different languages here for Chinese and for English. Ryan, when she says very random, but do you remember Fable 2? Glimmerwick reminds me a bit of. Interesting. Huh. I don't remember if I played Fable 2. I definitely played Fable 1, and I really liked it. It's a very interesting game. And yeah, a bit of humor in it too, which is rare in games. Let's go language. So we got English. Oh, that's keyboard layouts. Okay. There we go. So we have no translation key. No translation. Look, we messed up the whole game. It's weird. So there's definitely two here. I don't know what's going on. So the whole game says no translation, right? Yeah, no translation, no translation. Okay, well that's really strange. I don't know why we're not getting... It must just be the string itself is not correct. So let me look in the Chinese simplified. That should be the string. That I can't imagine why that's creating an issue. But let's open, well, let's see what's going on here. So let's go to the language settings. Chinese simplified. It might just be we have to say Chinese. I don't know exactly why that would be the case, but I'll just make it that way just to check. We'll just go Chinese. And then I will save that prefab. Okay. Oh, you know what I should do is I should set my category always changes. I don't know why the category unsets itself, but okay. I'll go ahead and mute the audio. And we still have no translation. I think that, oops. There we go. Here's the language. There, we're back to English. Okay, so now we're back to English. And now, okay, there we go. But it's still saying no translation on basically everything in the game. So I don't know why we're not finding the loc sheet here. I don't understand what's going on. Muralist asks, how do you choose which languages to include top 10 for game sales around the world? Yeah, basically, you just look at the, there's a couple data sources that you can look at. You could do research on if you think your game will do well in X market. We didn't do too much of that. I mean, you just try to look at the most recent data and pick your, however many languages you think you're going to make your money back in. Japanese was sort of the bottom of that list. I was pretty sure we were going to make our money back if we spent the money to localize to Japanese. It's for us, it's like 10 grand a language, something like that, maybe a little more. So we just want to make sure that we're going to get more than 10 grand in sales from translating. And I actually think there's a lot more languages we'd probably make our money back in, but I just want to do the ones that are absolutely 100% going to make our money back in and not be too risky and do too many languages, because it is expensive and it's a lot of work as well per language, even from us, not just from the translators. It's from a lot of language or a lot of work from us as well. Why is everything saying, I mean, here's clearly the entire loc sheet. Everything is here. I don't know why. So we replaced it. I don't understand why this isn't working. And I'm like probably 5 minutes away from just giving it back to Jenny instead of just trying to figure it out myself. I don't understand why every string in the game is missing right now, even though we have the loc sheet here. Makes no sense to me. Maybe it's because of this thing where maybe it needs to not say that. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, it used to be eFigs, which is English, German, Italian, French, and Spanish, but that has definitely changed nowadays. Nowadays, like the #1 language, I think is for our kind of game still probably German. The #2 is probably Chinese, and then the #3 is probably Russian, honestly. And Italian has just dropped off the list. I mean, we were localizing to 7 different languages other than English, and Italian's not on there. It's just not, for whatever reason, Italian has definitely gone down compared to all the other languages. Why can't I move right now? What's going on? Why am I? Okay, that was weird. Okay, look, it worked. So it's just we needed to, the string was just wrong. Nothing is working though on my keyboard, which is very strange. I maybe have accidentally changed the keyboard layout. No. Like escape just sometimes works. And tab, it seems like my player menu is up right now, but I don't see it. So that is a little bit peculiar. Very strange stuff. But it is time to put all the other languages back on there. So let's go back to the loc sheets. And we've got German, Russian, Portuguese. So we have We'll just do each language one at a time. Go to the UI prefab. I will say you have to have a lot of wish lists before you should consider localizing to any languages, I think. I guess you have to have a lot of wish lists before you should consider spending any money on anything, really. Ryan Winchy says, other than English, which language do you think will be the highest sales? I think it'll be German. German or Chinese. I'd be surprised if it was anything other than those two. But we might have a surprise in there, but not for the number 2 language, I don't think. It'll be German or Chinese, probably German. So let's go back to that. Here we go. Duplicate array element. Duplicate array element. What's going on? German. Come on. German. Okay, duplicate array elements. Got Russian. It is interesting how much better the game looks in Chinese. That's kind of a common amongst game devs. I feel like whenever we localize to Chinese, everyone thinks that their game looks prettier in Chinese. Japanese too, but honestly, Chinese is just a very, very beautiful written language. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna save that, and now we should have every language in there. And let's check. Let's check that tab issue. I don't know why our player menu wasn't showing up. There's not too much wordplay. There is a little bit, particularly Jenny, our programmer, has done a bit of writing in the game, and a lot of her jokes end up having more wordplay. And yeah, those are really difficult for sure. So here, the game is in Chinese, and for whatever reason, tab is working. I don't know why it wasn't working before. It's pretty scary. Okay. So these ones that aren't localized, like Forest and Fairies, I think it's just because these quest titles are not in the they're not in the demo content. And we only localize demo content right now. We just wanted to prioritize those strings because the game is over 100,000 words and it's going to take them months to localize. So we just wanted to do all the demo content work first. But look how pretty. Look how pretty it looks. It looks awesome. It looks so freaking cool. Okay, and everything seems to be working. Let's go ahead and talk to someone. Let's make sure that these are working. Okay, cool. So this is a little bit yucky. That thick black lines is seeming to sort of eat into the text a little bit too much for my liking. I don't think I can control that per language. I might be able to, but it seems like everything is working. I mean, at least everything that I can see. Let's try another language. Okay, let's go German. Okay, beautiful. Everything appears to be working here. Look at that. We could even accommodate these super long German strings. It's all fitting in there. It's a little bit small, but it's all fitting in there. Awesome. Right. So we'll check the Russian. The Russian font is, ooh, interesting. Okay. So let's see if that's a Russian thing. So that was obviously UI. The context got put in. So that's not right. Let's see if that's just a Russian thing or if that's for everyone. Okay, UI panel. So that's weird. And what about if we do English? Let's go to English. Okay. So I don't know why the context field is being pulled. Very odd. Very odd. And it's being pulled in multiple languages. So let's find that abilities title and see exactly what's going on there. 2D. Okay. So here's the title. And the title is pulling Abel title. So that's the ID. And then I'm going to go to the master loc sheet, which is here, and I'm going to search. So there's only one tab here, and then there's one more tab. And look, we've got some. This is very unusual. So clearly the German. I wonder why it was pulling the context field. You would think it would default to the English string, but it wasn't. So let's go into our master loc sheet and just look for this actual string. So here it is. It just hasn't been filled out in all the languages. But why would it be pulling the context? That is something strange. That is something very strange. But I'm guessing that if we change the language to Chinese, I'm guessing that that will look correct. So let's go Chinese. Okay. Yes, it looks fine in Chinese. So just something about having that missing for whatever reason is defaulting to the context field, and I don't understand why. Okay, and let's check out the Japanese. So the Japanese, so we still have that issue. So here it is in Japanese, and I'd say the font looks pretty good here. It's a little thin. It's a little thin at times. I wonder, and I know Japanese typically is a little bit thinner than Chinese, and just the look of Japanese fonts tends to be thinner. I don't know. That's just sort of a style thing. At least it's something I've noticed. But how does the dialogue look? Let's check it out. Oops. Okay, look at that. We're almost losing it. We definitely need that to be a little bit thinner. But I would say that the font looks pretty good most of the time. It looks really thin here. It's like almost like you can barely even see it. But it looks all right here, I guess. Oh, here's another bug that you can't scroll unless you're over a button. So I would like to fix that. Maybe I'll just give it to Jenny. Ryan Winchy says, were there times during dev you felt overwhelmed with the amount of code, writing, and art there was to do to make something so big? I'm feeling that a little now 1 year in, but loving every second. That's good that you're loving every second. Yeah, all the time, all the time. I'm always feeling overwhelmed by how much there is left to do. And it always feels a little bit impossible. to finish. I don't know. With East Shade, it felt like there was so much left to do, and we just had lists and lists and lists of things to do. And we just kept doing them and kept doing them and kept doing them. And we still had hundreds of things that we wanted to do. But at some point, it was just like launch was coming, release was coming. And I don't know, we sort of prioritized the things that we knew we had to do, and we did those. And then we launched. And I don't know if I wonder if there are developers that truly feel like they're getting through every single thing. Ideally, you know, you have this priority, you have a prioritized list of items you want to do, and of course, you do all the big ones, and then the ones that you're doing get progressively smaller as you get closer to ship. They get progressively less important, to the point where hopefully you've got a month left, you know, before you ship, and now you're just working on things that are like kind of like gravy. But you have everything important already in. You could already ship the game if you really had to, and you're just, you know, working on those less important things. We are not at that stage, which is terrifying. Yeah, I would say that what's left to do on Glimmerwick is scarier and more daunting than what was left to do on Eastshade, because A, the game is bigger and it takes 30 hours to test everything, which is insane. It's completely insane. And it makes me quake in my boots to think about all 30 hours of the game and all the bugs that lurk in all those 30 hours. And secondly, we have a child and another one on the way, and that makes life so much harder. At least it makes our game dev life so much harder. It's so much harder to work a lot. And we have childcare help right now, and we'd be dead without it. I mean, we wouldn't even have a punch's chance. It's almost a mummer's farce to even consider the idea of finishing this game without childcare help. But even with the childcare help, it's very scary, and we have so much more work to do and so many other things to do every day with having children. And you're just like getting woken in the night for all kinds of stuff. And yeah, it's really hard. Ryan JQ says, how long before SOG speed runs? I'm sure right away. People love speed running, man. People definitely love speed running. I want to check out the font, the master font stack. Here's the master font stack. And I just want to see if we can control the thickness. I absolutely hate the Russian font. I don't know. It's thin and just ugly. So I think I want to try doing a different Russian font. I think all the other ones, I mean, most of them are just using ITCAF because ITCAF has all the Latin stuff, at least now, because I added it all. Yeah, so it seems like we don't really have control over the bold version. So I think the best we can do maybe is pop into game and adjust, particularly on the Japanese. But both the Chinese and Japanese, it just seems like we're eating into the font so much. I'll try the Russian one. How does the Russian one look when we talk to people? Okay, so the Russian one, I guess, doesn't have quite as much. No, it does eat into it. Let me see if, let me turn off the auto progress. I think it's that one. So wait till yeah, so it didn't auto progress. That is, I just know where everything is in the options menu without being able to read it. So right now I just want to see if I can sort of change how thick we have that black there. It's so thin in ITCAF, but it's so thick in all the other languages. Here is the ITCAF SDF shadow. That's the one we're using. So I think that controlling this one will control everything. So let's look at the thickness. Yeah, there we go. So here we're eating into the letters so much. That looks a lot better. At least for Russian, it looks a lot better. That actually looks sensible. And now let me turn the game into, let's go Portuguese. Okay, well, it's somewhat reasonable. It's thinner than I would like it, but it's tolerable. And now let's try it in Japanese, which was really the worst offender. Okay, much better. That actually looks pretty good. So that gives me confidence that the Chinese one will look good too. So let's do the Chinese one. It looks beautiful. All right, cool. Let's ship it. We're good. Okay, so all the languages are in there now. Awesome. So that is the first thing I wanted to do, is put all the languages in. I will start making maybe a change list. So I'll stick this over here. I just got to keep a change list for when we do our patch notes, for our updates. The first thing is, I guess, added localization. I can maybe start adding all the things Jenny did as well. Jenny did a ton of crap. Hopefully we'll have added missing sprites for certain international keyboards. Fixed year number in day and UI. It's pretty nitpicky, but we'll put it on there. Fixed, I think it's a soft lock when I'm not going to do a spoiler in the patch, so I'll just say soft lock in player dorm involving Clover. Come on now. Fixed multiple chests bug. Fixed pickup in inventory bug. PS5 controller support. Sprites. And that's good. So that's our change list so far. Moving right along. JSTR. What a horrible idea. I assume you're talking about the SOG speedruns. Yeah, speedrunning is an interesting thing. It's definitely its own little game. It's funny though, you would think, you know, the people who are into speedrunning. I find that most people who are into speedrunning our games really love the game. Like they played it, like for eShade, I know that like our top speedrunners, the top 2 or 3 speedrunners, they loved the game and they played it normally to start, and they did all the things and they enjoyed everything and they went slow and smelled the roses, and then they were like, I want to do it again and I want to beat it as fast as I can. And then they go on to the speedrunning. So it's not always that speedrunners are just people who like to finish the game quickly, they also enjoy, you know, they enjoy the other ways there are to play the game as well. Talking about the Witch Academy. The Witch Academy is a horrible idea. Ryan Winchy says, is Jenny full-time? Yes, she is. Does the source control work well? Sharing the Unity project between devs. I'm doing this soon when hiring for the first time. Gotcha. Yeah, Perforce has been amazing for us. In the past, we were using Git and some kind of UI front end. I think it was Source Tree. And it was a nightmare. It was really a nightmare. I would say centralized source control works way better for games. I think there's a reason why almost every big game company uses Perforce. Like literally almost everyone. Like you go to any AAA company, they all use Perforce. And it's because the checking things out becomes extremely important. I personally could never roll with Git ever again. I think Git works great for working on software that has a lot of code and not a lot of binary assets. But if you have a lot of binary assets, you need to be able to check things out, which means exclusive checkout. Someone's working on it. Nobody else can touch it. And if someone else needs to touch it, then they have to ask, hey, when are you going to be done with that? And then they say, oh, well, just let me have it for 2 more hours and I'll fix it. And I just want to add this thing and then I'll check it in and then you can have it. That you need to have that. And Perforce seems to be, I think, the only version control that does it. So, but yeah, it's been a dream, honestly. It's been really working with Perforce and Unity is a dream. And we have a server with DigitalOcean, a droplet as they call it. And it's kind of annoying to set up. I had to follow a bunch of tutorials and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I got it done. And it's pretty cheap. I don't know, it's like $30 a month. And it stores all of our stuff and the servers are always running and it's worked very well. So the other thing I wanted to do is work on the broom animations, but I think before I do that, I want to get started projecting this. I'm not going to say what it is because I usually don't try too hard to avoid spoilers on this stream. I just assume that people who are here want to hang out and learn about game dev. But this one, I just won't say what it is, but it's, you know, it's a beautiful room and I need to project it. So that's what I'm going to get started on. So let's go ahead and open Blender. I'll refresh everything and I'll say fixing year number in day ends and adding back in language options, updating master loc sheet to first pass of real translations. I'll just check that in right now, just so I don't forget and leave GameCore checked out. That would be very bad. Mina says, I'm making my first isometric 2D game. I'm 13 days in and I want to cry. Any tips? Oh, I don't know. 13 days in, you're not very far in. I would say, I don't know. You want to cry. I assume you're getting stuck on something. A game dev is hard. It's hard, but if you just keep with it, then the mist starts clearing. And the more you work on it, the more the mist clears. And you just keep hacking. And that's the fun. That's the fun of it. JST says, learn about Game of Witchcraft. Which one is it? I don't quite understand the question. Maybe you're asking about what game we're working on. The game is called Songs of Glimmerwick. It is a Witch Academy RPG where the magic of the world is music. You can check it out there on Steam if you want to see what we're working on. We've been working on it for a very long time. We've been working on it for 7 years. Okay, so we got to go into models. Models. and open up blends and look for the interior. Should I start with Clary's office interior? What is the closest interior? Probably Headmistress's office. Let's start with Headmistress office. I'm going to open up that blend and save it as something else. Just confused if I'm learning about witchcraft or game dev. Oh, gotcha. Oh, I think mostly game dev. I don't know much witchcraft, unfortunately. Okay, so we're gonna call this let me just make sure I'm spelling that right. Okay. Clothra, I missed your follow. If you're still around, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate that. All right, here we go. Save. Remap relative. I don't think it matters. Save as. All right, so now we've got a couple things in place. Oh, I'll keep these ones around up here, but I'll maybe delete. Well, actually, I could even leave them around, but they're probably going to be renamed, and that's fine. Let's make sure everything is marked to not export. Here we've got a window. I don't think we're going to need that, so I'll go ahead and delete it. And we're going to rename this. Okay, I'm going to set that up for its first export. And then the collision. Let's see. Okay, we've got one for the floor and one for the walls, which I think is the way we want it. Let me catch up with chat here. Minna says, I'm stuck on fitting 2D buildings and assets into a 3D world. I just came across and watched one of your videos, though, and it seems helpful. Yeah, I think for us, the trick was definitely leaning more 3D. It's very difficult to mix the two. I find 2D in general really difficult. I find the sorting, the order is just annoying in 2D. I like 3D. It does it for you. So I find if you just imagine everything is a little billboard, you know, a little card in the world, and just let the 3D do the sorting for you, I think it works great. Of course, for our buildings, we do have to make some simplified, proxified version, some proxified mesh to roughly match the illustration. But it's very forgiving. But it's also really weird. Not many people are doing it like that. Ryan Winchy says you can tell the game was made by artists. So beautiful. Hey, thank you. I found coding. Oh, have you found coding challenging ever? Sometimes I get stuck for so long, especially optimizing, but it's a fun challenge. I find coding extremely fun. And I think I'm a reasonably competent programmer at like getting things done. But I seem to be pretty bad at debugging in general. And I didn't really know that until we hired Jenny, because Jenny eats bugs for breakfast and she can fix other people's bugs and she can just like read code. She can read code she didn't write and find bugs. And I could not do that. I'm not like a good enough coder. So we're glad to have found her, and she's now the lead programmer. So I only code here and there, but she does like 90% of the code these days. 80-90% of all the code that is made, Jenny makes it. So fortunately, I don't have to do much coding. I mean, I do like coding, but it's, you know, I'm not as good at coding as I am at art and a bunch of other things that we need for the game. So I try to leave all that stuff to Jenny. J Stress says, So are they going to which academy to try to save the world? They're going to which academy because they want to learn. They want to learn, and they want to learn magic. But I would say our plot is not quite so heavy as save the world. It is a little bit like that. They're going to save something. I won't spoil anything. I mean, they're not going there to save, but it so happens there's some conflict and the main player is involved. Have you made any 2D broomsticks? Actually, we were just doing that yesterday. We were working on the broom. Mina says, if I think of a method to make my 2D pieces into a sort of 3D mesh that fits the fixed camera POV, I hit the jackpot. Ryan Winchy says, love it. Have you had to go into multi-threaded world for Glimmerwick? I've never needed to yet. It's a bit scary. No, we have not done any multi-threading. I mean, optimization is, I don't know, the most expensive part is rendering, and the engine does it. So if there's any multi-threaded stuff going on with the rendering, I assume Unity is already doing it. But for our part, our code is not that CPU intensive. We just have a lot of gameplay code and callbacks and stuff. It's kind of a joke compared to the rendering. So rendering is the most expensive part, and we just try to make sure that we're that we're not rendering what we don't need to be rendering. So basically just culling and potentially draw call batching and draw call consolidation. And that's pretty much all we really worry about for performance. Call this, we'll go onto this layer and we'll grab this and we'll call this reminiscing room. Fizz. Floor. Okay. And we'll leave both of those not exporting, but this one is ready for export. And we will get started on our atlas, which is the most important part. I need to figure out how we're going to break this up. So I'm going to go ahead and save as into the textures folder. Assets, textures, save. And it looks like these trees are not mirrored. So how close are we to just power of 2 texture here? Is it a perfect 2x1? Can we just do 8192? 8192. We're pretty close. Seems like we're almost there. Let's see if we can crop this into a 2x1. So the ratio is going to be 2x1. We're just going to have a little bit of wasted space on the sides, unfortunately. 8192 is kind of insane. But I think that is what we'll start with, because I don't see why, at least for the source file, and then we can always go smaller if we need to. Something like that. 2x1. Crop it. Ryan Winchy says, I thought maybe for all the NPCs calculating paths. Well, thank you. I'm glad you liked that video. Not many people watched it, so I'm glad you liked it. I really haven't cracked the code for what people will want to watch, because I thought that video was pretty good, and it is I think it's our worst performing devlog. Maybe the title got confusing with the big news at the end. I don't really know. It's very difficult to crack the code. But no, it's not complicated. I mean, it's not very much code that's being executed for the schedules. It's just a ticking clock, and it just checks if whenever a new, let's say the NPC scheduled to do something at 8 a.m. It's just checking, is it 8 a.m. yet? Is it 8 a.m. yet? And once it's 8 a.m., then the NPC just path finds to their new destination, and they just trigger whatever animation needs to be triggered, and whatever else happens when they arrive at their destination. And once that happens, then they're pretty much done. And that's really nothing else is executing other than, let's say their next task is at 9 a.m. It just goes, is it 9 a.m. yet? Is it 9 a.m. yet? And that's really the only code that's being executed every frame. It's just polling for if it passed a new time for a task. And once it passes the new time for a task, then it starts pathfinding to the new place. And then there's one callback when they arrive at their destination, and then they set themselves up. So it's really nothing. I mean, in terms of the NPC logic, you could probably have hundreds of thousands of NPCs and it wouldn't do anything. The only expensive part is actually calculating the path, which is nav mesh stuff, which is engine level, right? So that's why I was saying that like almost every expensive thing is handled by the engine, and it's the engine, they're the ones that optimize this stuff. So as long as the engine has a reasonably optimized pathfind routine, and that is an async operation, so I'm pretty sure that one is multi-threaded. You just ask it to find a path and it goes off onto the other threads and it finds the path and it brings it back. But we didn't code that multi-threaded stuff. We're just using the API for it. So if you can do it all right and your engine is solid, which of course Unity is, you can get it so that the engine really does most of the heavy lifting in terms of the stuff that needs to be heavily optimized. Unless you're making like a total war game or something where you have to really do all kinds of stuff yourself. But we haven't really needed to dig that far in. Mina says, oh, well, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you're digging the channel. I went many months without streaming, but now I'm back on the horse. So hopefully I'm going to be streaming 5 days a week or more. But my streaming schedule is extremely random. So my streaming schedule is not optimized for bringing in the most viewers. It's optimized for what works best for me and my work, because my main priority is working on the game. So which engine are you using? I'm using Unity. Ryan, when she says surprising, I also love the, oh, 1 second, folks. Okay. Uh, Also love the Quest one. All right. Yeah, that one also kind of bombed. I don't know how to crack the code. I'm not very good at YouTube. I'm like kind of middling okay at YouTube. I'm sure if I put more time into it, I could get it up there, but again, the focus is the games. But overall, YouTube has still been a good venture, I think, for building our brand and stuff. Choco Ted asks, did you ever use AI like Claude and stuff for coding? No. I find it to be completely unproductive, a massive waste of time to try to use that. I think the AI can help you with the easy part of coding that you already don't need help with because it's easy. And the hard part of coding, which is that last 10%, basically all your hard problems that come in late stage development, AI cannot help you with because it doesn't really understand your code, because AI doesn't fundamentally really understand anything. It just knows how to copy stuff from the internet. So I think right now, I'm definitely very skeptical of people who use AI heavily in their coding. Makes me feel like they're not working on anything that is that good, or they're not very good coders, or they're not very good craftspeople. I don't see a lot of good things coming out of AI. I see only bad things, and only very bad things, obviously beyond beyond the actual products people are making with AI, which are mostly garbage. There's so many other bad things that are happening to me personally because of AI, and it's not even it doesn't even have to do with taking my job. Like even the amount of spam emails I get now is more annoying because so many of them are AI generated. So the spam emails will say something like, "Hey, Eastshade Studios, like we love, Songs of Glimmerwick. It looks so beautiful. We noticed that you are struggling with whatever X thing." It'll quote something I said in a blog post like, 2 years ago. And it's just weird. There's something a little weird and off about it. And it's like, why are they saying that? It's so specific. And then I realized, oh, it's just made by like ChatGPT or something. And it's just trying to appeal to me personally. And it's trying to look like a personally crafted email. It's not a personally crafted email. It's just another mass spam email, except they use ChatGPT to specialize it toward me. And it sucks my time away from my day because I obviously want to respond to emails that are specifically for me, right? If it's like a real email from a real person that is really interested in working with me, then I really want to read that email. But now it's obfuscating the actual spam from the real people who want to connect with me. And now I can't even read my emails without wasting my time. So this AI that is supposed to have been helping us, helping a tool. Everyone says a tool to be more productive. Fuck that. No, it's not. It's literally stealing money out of my pocket every day and giving me nothing. And it frustrates me. It really frustrates me. It's destroying the world. And yeah, sorry, don't talk to me about AI. I'll go on a tirade. It's ruining my life. And it's not taking my job. I'm a business owner. If anything, I should be the one that is benefiting from AI because AI should be making me more productive or whatever. It's not. It's just stealing from me. It's just taking good things and turning them into shitty things. That's all it's doing. And it's destroying the environment. Mina, thank you so much for the kind words about the game. Really appreciate it. AI slop. That's right. Ryan Winchy says, what was your favorite podcast you went on? Oh, well, I always enjoy going on the pods. Yeah, it was fun to, the latest one I did was really fun with Jonas Tyroller. That was good stuff. But I also had a lot of fun on the Thomas Brush podcast as well. Need an AI to detect AI. Exactly, XV. It's like now the only thing I need AI for is to weed its own self out. so that I don't have to have my time wasted, it really obfuscates quality. This is my biggest issue with AI. It obfuscates quality. It obfuscates craftsmanship with something that looks like craftsmanship. Even with something so simple as an email, it looked like a personally crafted email. But it took me time to realize that it wasn't. And fortunately, you know, I am sort of young and of, you know, a man of the internet. So I can kind of discern the weirdness of the email that I was able to discern that it's an AI email. But now it's just getting harder and harder to know what's real and what's bullshit. And it pisses me off. If it was a real person that actually took time to research our company and actually loved our game, then it would be different. I would maybe want to read that email, but it wasn't. It wasn't. They don't give a shit about me. They don't know who I am. I don't know who they are. They're just a random fucking spammer. And now they have AI to make it look like they're not, but they are. Pisses me off so much. Just another thing to waste my time. And it saves them time to waste my time. That's what it does. Choco Ted says, I made isometric pixel art assets, but I'm struggling to do this sorting. So difficult. Oh my God. Tell me about it. Yeah, it's definitely isometric 2D is very, very difficult. I'm going to try to get to work here and stop gabbing like a loser. So I'm just going to do a straight projection for this. It's going to be the simplest kind of projection. This house plant probably already exists somewhere in the game. I'm imagining a lot of these assets probably already exist somewhere in the game. This desk probably doesn't. The windows. So I just need to figure out how to break this thing apart. Let's turn off the back because we don't need that. The windows, definitely I'm going to want to do a window shader. So we've got this glow going on. I'm going to remove that because that's lighting stuff, and we'll do that in the engine. Shadowing, we'll leave that in. I just want to find those windows. The plants, I really need to shut up and get to work. And now I'm wasting my own time by talking about AI instead of getting to work. AI is just finding another way to waste my time. Just me being pissed about it is wasting my time. But that one's kind of on me. This rug is, I'll leave that in there just right in the texture so that Jacqueline can polish it up and make it beautiful. Okay, that tree. I'm just trying to find those windows. There they are. Okay, so I want to actually just delete. This is all one thing. That's unusual. I just want to delete everything out of the window here. I'm going to go on a tirade about AI. I should at least be working while I do it, right? It is so interesting, though, that every single good craftsperson in the world, I have not found a single person with actual skill that is pro AI. Not a single one. It's only the tech CEOs. It's only like business owners who are not coders. They're not artists. They're not nothing. All the people who actually make the stuff, that we all want, the software we all want, the art that we all want, the music that we all want, the games that we all want, all the stuff that moves us, that makes us happy, the actual value in the world, the actual software that makes us more productive, no matter what it is, every single true craftsperson with real skill is anti-AI. And not just because it's going to take their job. For so many other reasons, it's literally just making the world worse in so many ways. It's even our ability to even have craftspeople is compromised now because so many kids are so terrified of what kind of jobs will be gone that they don't even want to learn anything because they're worried that it's just going to be taken away in 5 years. So now it's becoming true that we're going to need AI to start doing stuff because people aren't learning. And AI is so shitty. It is so shitty. It is so bad at doing anything real. Mina and Choco are both having issues with sorting their isometric 2D game. Are you guys, is it both kind of like a top-down situation, like, or like a 3/4 isometric style, like Diablo sort of thing? Just want to get rid of all of this window tessellation. I'm not a fan of this window tessellation. We're not going to do anything like this for sure. I'm going to do our own window tessellation. I'll probably model it in 3D. It says I'm very picky about window muntins and window tessellation and things. Jacqueline knows that. I always end up removing her, and she doesn't really care about it. So she's always like, yeah, sure, whatever, do whatever you want with the window muntins. But windows are like, windows and architecture are like eyes on a character. The windows are the portal into the soul. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can. Let's increase the tolerance to like 50 and see if I can get rid of this crap on the outside here. Not really. Maybe I'll turn off contiguous. Yeah, that seems to be doing something. Okay, there we go. Just delete all that. And now have a pretty clean edge. I'll turn down maybe the tolerance to like 20, and let's see if we can just like, can we, oh no, this is getting more than we wanted. Just want to delete all this stuff on the edge here. Mina's working on a cozy Habbo style isometric game right now. Newbie game dev, so still lots to learn. All right. Exciting stuff. Are you more of an artist or more of a coder, Mina? Just deleting all this fringing, unfortunately. It was kind of built into the... Jacqueline will just draw over it. She'll clean it up anyway, but I don't know. Just get us started without this nasty fringing. See, what layer is this? Okay, so let's just get rid of that. Oops. So really all this stuff we want to get rid of. This wall. Okay. There we go. That's what we want. Mina says, pixel artist. All right. My sister is doing majority of the coding side of things. Cool. That's awesome. That's fun. Sibling team. Love it. Okay, so just trying to get rid of these little doohickeys here. Got a few left up here. Painting is relaxing. I mean, I'm barely painting, but I know painting can be very relaxing. Especially when you're kind of polishing. I think when you're working things out, it can be a little bit more brain intensive, but right now it's definitely not a lot of brain going on. Okay, cool. So I'm going to leave everything on here. There's a couple things I know need to be branched off, like I think the desk. I'll try to find this chair, definitely this broom, the cauldron here. But we're in a good spot, so let's start. Reminiscing room text, so let's make a new material. I'll duplicate the headmistress texture or the headmistress material, and I'll reference the new texture. James says hello. Says SOG speedruns all dependent on conditions for completion. Yeah. The game will have an end. So I think it will be speedrunnable. It's not like Stardew Valley. Okay, headmistress. Can't wait to get started on this. Headmistress office text. I'll just duplicate that material and we'll call it missing room interior text. Okay. Sweet. I don't think we have an interior. Oh no, we do. We do have an interior already. Okay, cool. Great. So we already have a placeholder interior. I love it. This is amazing. Let's get out of 2D mode. Here we go. So here's the green. Here's the entry. Love it. Let's go. There's global. Oh, okay, here. So I assume, okay, so the room faces this way. We don't even have a camera in here. So we're definitely going to want a camera. Let's go into the headmistress interior and let's grab the camera from here. Okay, copy back to the missing room and let's paste the camera. Paste. All right. And let's move it right over here. Okay, and let's make it a little bit bigger here. Be like 30, 40. Maybe even bigger. 40 and 50. Okay. Oops, 50. All right, cool. And we don't want a green light. We'll start with just like a white light. And it's an ambient light. We've got a spotlight too. Okay, we might play with that. This should be a daylight, but I'll worry about that later. Now it's just time to get our mesh, which we really don't have one. So let's make one. So we already have our material. I'll just put our material on there. Copy the material name. And then we want in this scene to replace that material's name. And then we'll also replace this texture. So image, let's see if there's a way to replace the texture. I don't think there is. Oh yeah, replace image. And let's get the correct image. Perfect, awesome, okay, rad. So we're already on our way. We already have a camera set up for easy projection as well. This is just perfect. Yeah. Honestly, it's a really similar shape too. I think I can even, use the shape. Let's just project. So it's a little bit wide. We need to make our camera double wide because our texture is double wide. So let me go into the resolution here and let's go on the X, we have 2000. There we go. And now We just want to move our camera. Our camera's already orthographic. Oops. Let's tear off a window here. And set it to the camera, and now we should be able to actually see what we're doing. Okay, and let's increase the scale a little bit. Something like that. And I'll just make sure that our camera seems to be at the right angle and everything, so all good there. Okay, cool. And is our camera centered? Seems to be centered. So we just want our, here I guess we can just start moving the mesh. Oh, we got the windows too. You know what? I will keep these windows around. I'll keep these windows around because I'm going to put them, I'm going to potentially use them, although I still don't like the muntins. We got a lot of work to do on those muntins. Let's just move them back to get them out of the way for the moment, and I'm going to save it. And now we'll look through our camera. Actually, I think we can just go with the one viewport now. Look through the camera. And now I can start moving this thing to be centered. I don't know. I guess, okay, it makes sense why we have to move it so far left, because we have this thing so far left on the texture. Okay, so now it's at least somewhat centered. I think just to make it less confusing, I'm going to grab all these polygons at the top and just keep it simple for the moment. Just make the bottom part. I'm going to do the same thing over here. We'll re-extrude this later, but right now let's just keep it simple. I don't want to get confused. Can always add these back later. What's going on here? Let's see. Yeah, delete that. Delete that. Delete these over here as well. Okay, I don't really want this n-gon here, so I'm gonna just merge that down and snap it to this. Let's see, go to the median, let's snap it to this vert. I don't know why it's not snapping to the vert. It says snap to vertices, but it's not snapping to the vert. So active maybe? Let's go active. No, it's still not snapping to the vert. It's very unusual. It's only snapping to seemingly random stuff that has nothing to do with what I'm seeing here. Center. I don't know why it's not snapping to verts. Snap to vertex. Very, very peculiar. Very peculiar. Absolutely insane. It's snapping to nothing. Snapping to literally nothing. I can't see anything. Maybe, nope, there's no modifiers on it either, so absolutely insane behavior. I'm also noticing this whole thing is super slanted. I don't necessarily want that. You know, what I might have to do is just grab all these verts to start here and just scale. Turn off snapping. Snapping's not helping us at all right now, so we'll just flatten it all to 0. So now it's perfectly flat. I'll go ahead and do that to the top row as well, just to make this nice and clean, easy starting point. Okay, let's get started. Oops. Project. Okay, cool. So here we go. Much easier to see what I'm doing. Grab these and then move it. Move it until the bottom line there lines up with where that molding is. Doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, look what we've done. I hate that. I hate that it's so hard to tell what's happening, because I don't know if it's actually moving on the green or if it's moving on the blue. Okay, now it's, no, now it's still moving on the blue. I don't know. I'm just going to have to randomly keep projecting, I guess. I don't know. There we go. We're almost there. Just one more little bit. One more, a little bit like that. Now we've gone a little too far. Let's go a little bit more the other way. Just a little bit the other way. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. So now we've got that. Let's get these verts moved over to the edge. Definitely want this to line up. Actually, I will grab both of those and I'll just move it forward until I want it to line up with the floorboard again right here. So just grab that face and push it pretty much as we can this way. Okay, so still not quite enough. Okay, it's more or less lining up. Now we want to move this to the right until it pretty much lines up with the corner of that wall. We'll just put this one in the middle just because why not? And now we've got to move this one way out. There we go. Pretty much nailed it on the first try, which is crazy. Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and make the shape correct for here. So this, we want it to be in the middle. And now we'll just push this forward. Okay, so we're almost on. Let's move it back a little bit. Almost, almost, almost. Perfect. All right, cool. And now with this vert, I'm going to move this vert forward until... Actually, it might be easier if I just extrude a little bit here, just so we can kind of see what we need to do. So it looks like this one needs to go way more over here. So I'm just trying to line it up roughly with that corner. Perfect. And then we'll take this and move this forward. Thinking like that. Okay, awesome. Pretty much dead on. And now this side really needs a lot. So this goes way over. We'll move this over, give ourselves more leeway there. Seems like this needs to go forward. I imagine to the same, oh, right, the snapping's not working. What are you snapping to? Literally, what are you snapping to? Like, what's happening here? It's so strange. The snapping is just complete nonsense. It's snapping to nonsense. I mean, what do I have to do? Never seen that before. I could literally just copy the values, like it's a Y value, so I could just copy this value since normal doesn't work anymore. That should be flat. And then we'll just paste the Y value in. There we go. That's where it is. And then we'll take this and move that. Okay, cool. So that is looks about right. But now we can move this more in, I think. Okay, I think that pretty much works. We want to move this one over to the corner. Look at that. Looking good. So we've pretty much got this room more or less laid out. Now we can start taking the top edge of this and push it all the way up to accommodate everything. Absolutely everything. And then I'll just cut along the top here. There we go. Okay, and I'll just delete all those faces because we don't need them all up there. Cool, that's easy. And now look, we already are on our way. We already have a proxified version of the room that the player is going to be able to run around in there. I left the player in here because when we get it into Unity, we need it to get the scale right. Okay, let me catch up with chat. Ryan Winchy, thanks for dropping by. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, catch you later. Oh, thank you so much. All right. Okay, Clothra, already thanked. Mina says, is the game available already or not yet released? The demo is out. The free demo is out, but the full game is not available. But if you want to check out our Steam page there, you can play our demo right now. It's the first 2 or 3 hours of the game. And your save will continue when the game actually comes out. Maybe because the snapping is on median. I tried them all. I don't know what it's snapping to. It's very odd. Very peculiar. Okay, so now I'm going to extrude this edge out. Here we go again. Can't snap. It's hard to work without snapping. It's such a basic thing. It's just snapping to something in La La Land that is not the mesh I'm actually working on. You know, maybe if I apply like rotation and scale and then try snapping to vertices. It's just not snapping to anything. I can't get it to snap to anything. Snapping's on, but it just won't snap. I mean, here, it's snapping to what? What is it snapping to? Like, what is that? What could possibly have been there? It's so weird. It's like snapping to something that doesn't exist. Very unusual. Been using Blender for about 1 billion years. Never seen anything like that. Okay. Rock on. Thank you, Mina. I hope you like it. 1 second, folks. Okay. Let me extrude these down and not snap them. Weld them there. Okay. Very nice. Looks like we need to go even lower because we've got all this tree down here. So let me just go lower. I guess not that low. Yeah, cool. And then we do want to get the rest of the tree. So let's see how much we need to go out over here. A little bit less. A little bit less. I want to cut it pretty close. And this one should probably go all the way to the edge because texture goes all the way to the edge. Okay, and let's move this in. And that one is already pretty much in as much as it can go. I will maybe delete. Oh no, I guess. Okay, that's fine. We're not going to stuff anything under there. Cool. So here we have it. We already have a basic projection here. And we can get to it. Save, export. See how it's going. Here is our room that we just exported. Let's stick it in. It's rotated the wrong direction. Let's go 180. It's using the wrong texture at the moment, no problem. Okay. I have no sense of scale, but I can see the entry is right there. So let's just make sure that our little platform there, which we also need to project, is somewhere around the entry. Let's swap out this texture. There we go. And now we should be able to delete the other one, which is just placeholder. And we're off to the races. So here's the entry. We'll move it over, something like that. Cool. And now if we check out that interior, we probably should be able to see it if we turn it on in main here. There we go. Now we can kind of see what we're doing. So there's our interior. Lovely. Now we can maybe start composing it. So where's entry? Entry is, maybe we just put it on origin would be nice. And we'll put the actual room. We'll put it maybe on 0 on the Y. And just put that entry right there, somewhere like right there. Oh, we've got some kind of weird mesh in here. Like, what is that? That's odd. Very odd. What is it? Let's go into Blender and look at the dummy that is the parent of everything in this. And let's look at the scene, current scene, and crack it open. Okay, so there's actually a bunch of stuff in here. All right, there it is. Whatever that is, delete it. I don't know what that is. Delete it. And this. Okay, so there's a bunch of crap in here. Delete it. Delete it. Delete it. Okay, and then here's the windows. So we will need the windows in a minute. Definitely don't like these muntins. We're not going to have that. Let's just delete. Oh, are these instanced or something? What's going on here? We've got a couple different materials. Let's delete all those out of there. Remove that material. Okay. Don't know what's going on with these. I guess it's just a mirror situation. So we'll delete all those and remove that material out of there. Okay. So now we should have everything we need. Honestly, though, these don't even really need to be mirrored. Yeah, I think it'd just be simpler if I delete this. And then let's just put this one right here. And if we really want to have 3 of them, that's fine, but we can just gonna scale this correctly. I'll scale this to 0, the top and bottom. There we go. Okay, and then I'll just drag this all the way up to cover the window, drag this one down, and then I guess I'll just duplicate to have the other one. I'll scale it down a little bit, just so that those little window slashy things don't all fall in the exact same location. Okay, and now we can export and There, now we actually have the windows, and we still have to do the muntins and stuff. So we'll get to that, but right now at least we have some windows there, and they're letting light in. There's a little bit of stuff at the bottom of this thing I think we need to just cut off. And export. And now let's get the camera right. So the camera magnet, VC is, okay, field of view. It has a pretty tight field of view. I don't want to make it any tighter. So I just want to move it a little closer, maybe a little bit down. And we'll move, ooh, this is not centered. Oh, it is centered. I'm just crazy. Okay, let's put that right in the middle. Right in the middle there of that carpet. Save and look through the camera. Okay, so now we're really not centered at all. Okay, we're just a little bit high. So let's go down. Oh my gosh, wow, the tiniest little bit makes a huge difference. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, there we go. We're pretty well framed up now. I don't think we can get it any tighter. I guess in this room, you probably won't have these. So I think maybe I could maybe move it a little bit closer. Why is the camera? Oh, there it goes. Okay. A little bit closer, and then just move it up a tiny bit and save that. Yeah, I think we can get it even a little closer. Put up a tiny bit. Save that. Okay. Almost there. Let's move it back a little bit. Yeah, I think that's correct. Yeah, maybe just to be safe, move it back a little bit. Oh my God. I just did all this work to make it the perfect composition. I didn't even check the scale. Oh dear. I'm an idiot. I really am. I'm such an idiot. Okay, anyhow, just move along. Move along. I'm going to put a couple cuts in here. And then we'll extrude this. Perfect. I'll move that back a little bit, and then we'll move this face up a lot. Ah, we don't need this face on the bottom. It's going to mess things up. Perfect. Very nice. Okay. That's lovely. We will need collision, but I think 1-1 collision is going to work fine for us for the moment. So just while we're working here, we should be able to do 1-1 collision. I'll go ahead and give it like a wood material so that she makes wood noises when she's walking around. Wicked. Okay, and then we need to, I'd like to go walk around in here now just to see where we're at. So let's get out of 2D mode and turn on the test tools. And we need to put our player next to the secret door. And we'll set the secret door to the name of our interior that we want. There it is. Okay. And I will go ahead and save it. Oh yeah, and then I want to go to the main scene and turn that interior off. And oh no, we have to have developer start settings here. So let's head up to the top and do developer start settings. Give it a save. Uh-oh. Oh, I guess that's fine. In we go. Wow. Okay, so the scale is just a little bit big, but it's not that far off. So we'll scale down the room just a touch. Now the room is incredibly blurry, but hopefully that's just because we need to increase the resolution significantly of the room. We need a big lighting pass, of course. I think that the room maybe, well, first of all, let's turn it back on in here so we can see what we're doing. And the mesh for the room can just be like just a little bit smaller. Wasn't that far off. Oh, we need to export too, because it looks like we're missing, oops, turned on grease pencil, because of course I did. Let's export. Perfect. MetaShift Master, hello and welcome to the stream. What type of art style is used in the game? I don't really know exactly what to call it. I would call it illustrated would be the name of the art style if I had to give it a name. A lot of press are using Storybook Illustrated. Okay, so now looking at the camera, of course the camera is going to be way off. I really think I'd like if the camera was just perfectly centered, like there. And now we have just perfect control over exactly what we're looking at. So let's move it all the way, I'd say, to that threshold and then we'll back the camera up until we've got the entire interior in there. Let's move it back a little bit more, and then camera magnet can go forward maybe just a touch, and then back it up a little bit more just for safety here. Give it a save. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Meta shift. I think we can even go forward a little bit more there. Move it in a little bit. I'm also currently working on my own game, RPG pixel art retro style. Cool. Very exciting. Feel like we're a little bit uncentered here, so I do think I need to move this to the left a touch somehow, which is weird because it looks like we're already way to the left, so I don't really understand how that's happening, but anyway. Okay, now we've done that. Let's turn that room off and run around to see if our scale is a little bit closer to where we want to be. I think the scale is very, very close to what we want, but it might still be a little bit big maybe. It's a pretty big room. It feels maybe a little bit like it's just not quite cozy because of how insanely big the room is. Thank you, MetaShift. Here we've got a free demo right now. If you want to give it a whirl. Just make it a tiny bit smaller, just to make the room feel a little bit cozier. Of course, now we've messed up our camera again. And James has been testing for us, and he has played a great deal of our game already. Okay. Let's turn on that the reminiscing room so that we can actually see what's going on. Okay, so the camera can just be moved a little bit closer. Just a tiny bit closer. Okay. So now I'm ready to turn off the player in here. Let's turn her off. Because now any more scale adjustments we're just going to make based on just kind of how it feels in the game. So we definitely want to look at the material because it's way too low res. Or sorry, the texture. Oh yeah, 2048. Let's go 4096. It doesn't even seem like that's going to be enough, but we'll see. Because 2048 looked blurry, which is crazy. Let's give that a save. Also could maybe use something in the material, like some kind of grunge layer or watercolor wash, we call it. It's very sterile looking right now. Yeah, it's blurry. It's legit blurry, which is nuts. I mean, it is a 4096. Like, that's absurd. That is so crazy. So we got to go 8192. That's crazy. What is it about this texture that is... Doesn't seem like that big, but whatever. Okay, well, we'll go 8192. And I know that we could get it smaller if we were more efficient with how we packed it, but it's so much faster to do it this way from an authorship standpoint, and I just don't think it'll matter, because this texture is not going to be in memory unless you're in this room, and when you're in this room, you know, that's going to be the only thing drawing, so shouldn't have to worry about anything. So, I mean, it's definitely a high enough res now that it's 8192. It's not a full 8192 by 8192. It's 8192 by 4096, but still, it's a little bit crazy. Do we even have to do that? That is a really good start, though. There's a really good start on this. And now I can start breaking apart all the different furnitures and stuff. And do lighting and such. Okay, that's a great start. I think I'm going to call it there. Give my voice a little bit of a rest. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me. And of course, if you're new to the stream, please go check out our game. It's called Songs of Glimmerwick. It's a Witch Academy RPG where the magic of the world is music. And you can, of course, wishlist it if it looks like your cup of tea, but you can also play the demo and see if it's your cup of tea. Been hearing really good things about the demo. Many people are smitten with it, so if it seems like your style, go give it a whirl, and hopefully you will like it. Thanks for everyone very much, and hopefully I'll catch some of y'all next time. Okay, see ya.